guys, we're here today. It's my first series with you guys through rose tinted classes, and I'm here with a tongue fu master who has 13 jobs, and she's just an awesome person. I have no words and I'm really nervous, so I'm going to do a lot of shutting up and she's going to do a lot of talking. But to Dr Ushy Mohandas, I pass on the mic, and she's here today. She's gracing us with her presence, and I have no words. I mean, I'm super impressed. Last time we spoke, you had me in splits. We just laughed, and we actually got along really well. And I'm here today to ask you all about what do you think of our concept? Because we are here to, enable and empower women. I know they're big words. I know you said, you don't like very many big words, but I think every woman that I reach out to and I help, I think we've, made it somewhere closer to helping you. So here we are, and first tell us all about what Tongue Fu Master is.
Well, thank you very much for having me on Rosé. Okay, the concept is wonderful. Rosé is awesome, and I would just say that if you look at karate and kung fu, right? I mean, defense is the best form of offense. So,
Right.
If I'm a Tongue Fu Master, it just means that I practice tremendous silence. And it's not that I talk a lot, because that's really what people ask me. I talk for a living, and the rest of the time I'm absolutely silent. And I think silence is the most powerful form of Tongue Fu.
Okay.
And this is what is very difficult, especially in India. I believe especially for women, because I'm told that women use about 7,000 words in the day, and men use about 3,500. And that's because women have to repeat 3,500 words twice in order to be heard. So,
But why is it so difficult for us to be heard? Are we not talking loud enough? Are we not
no,
talking
we're not
strong
talking
enough?
sharp enough.
Okay.
I believe that we're talking a lot of words, and most of the words that we're talking are not really pointed. It's very important that a woman learns to use very strong, very sharp words when necessary, and just stay quiet when not necessary.
Okay.
So it's like driving. You need to know when you can be in cruise control and when you can use the gears and put a stop to it. You can't always drive in the fourth gear, and you cannot always, end up sitting in the first and second gear as well.
Right.
You're going nowhere.
13 jobs.
Yep.
Tell us about it.
It's one lucky number, 13, and it's just a number. And believe me, by virtue of being a communicator, you end up doing jobs which enable other people.
Great.
And in order to be someone who can help another person, I think the only thing that I do is I'm a brilliant listener and a very sharp observer, which means that I think women have these two natural skills, which are often very understated. I think we need to really watch out for what we are looking at, watch out for what we are focusing on, and most importantly, are you investing your energy on what you're looking and focusing on? Because a lot of people invest their energies in some weird areas, and then they come back to me and say, I'm feeling low, I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling sad, whatever I want is not coming my way, because your entire focus is on the wrong things. So they don't have something called what we call pinpoint focus. And it's not a generalization. We're talking about the average majority. And I think women need to sharpen their focus a little more. Because when you're a mother, you wish to be a CEO. When you're a CEO, you think that you need to be a great wife. And when you're a great wife, you don't want to be anything else sometimes. And I believe that everything is about a role, and a woman is not just supposed to be a mother, supposed to be a wife. These are natural biological things. And I wouldn't say a woman as, just being a mother. It's by default that you're not one. And if you just say that I want to be mother, you know what can happen. Right? I mean, it's not something where you're doing something really big. And parenting is different. But being a mother is not something which I consider as a role play and things like that. I've observed women are never 100% anywhere.
Why?
When you're at work, you're always worrying about home. And when you're at home, you're always worrying what went wrong at work.
Effectively, unsatisfied.
Yeah, not unsatisfied, you're not sure of certain things. And the burden of the responsibility is very high on the woman. For example, when you marry and go to a house, they expect you to look after the entire house. When you're at work, they say being a woman she'll be able to handle large groups because at home she's got great families and she's handling the kitchen and she's handling the house. So obviously she can multitask. So this entire onus of a woman can do everything, I think is a big jinx. A woman can do only some things. And if you really give her that liberty to do something she really wants, the rest of the things just fall in place. And
But does she know what she wants?
That's exactly why I'm saying if you don't focus and you're not energizing your focus, you're just rambling around the place. So what are you doing? Effectively wasting time. When we waste time, we waste our life. And that's exactly what women end up doing, because you go all the way and realize this was not what I wanted in the first place. So the thinking needs to be done before the doing. And very important, once you think, if you're not feeling the thought, please don't do. So it's called the TFA axis: thinking, feeling and acting.
But if they don't want to do it, do they have a choice not to?
Well, half of the world's problems are here because, I would say that is because a woman says yes to everything and no. Because a woman who says no is aggressive. A woman who says no is, arrogant. And it's just the opposite in a man. If you look at women leaders and men leaders, if you look at a man who screams, shouts, he's in power, he holds a baton and he tells everyone, behave yourself, they will say, wow, what a guy, look at the power. If the same thing is done by a woman, they'll say, oh my goodness, here comes trouble. And
But who's saying that?
The general, it's the mindset. And we are talking purely about the society in general, because all of us are molded by society to a great extent. We're also molded by our environments. I'm sure that no young boys are taught to wash vessels and sweep houses. They're taught to play with guns, get out of homes. We're all taught to be in boxes. If you're a girl, do this. If you're a boy, do this. And if you're anything in between, do whatever chooses and pleases you. So I believe in all genders. I believe that I'm gender agnostic, so I believe in life. So for me, it's not man or woman or anything like that. I believe that you can have an awesome woman and you can have an awesome man. You can also have a lousy woman and you can have a lousy chap. So it's all dependent completely on the mindset. And the mind, when you call it mindset, I think when you have a fixed mindset, you're in deep, deep trouble. I have a growth mindset and it's helped me a lot. I adapt quicker, I'm more flexible. I know I can never change anyone else other than me. So I'm actually very rapid to change. And I believe that it's called the nano change. And I think women should master the art of nano change.
So can one learn that?
Yes, it's a learned art. It's not something you're born with.
And
You
how,
can use
how do you
all your-
condition yourself?
You condition yourself based on what I said, what you want, and what you're willing to give to get what you want.
Yesteryears we were always the ones that were at home looking after the family. So we lost a lot of opportunities.
Who asked us to look after the families alone?
Our nurturing.
Exactly. So it's important sometimes to think different, and it all starts with the thought. And it's important, however, the conditioning and whatever your excuse or whatever your environment. I think if you really badly want to do something and you have this dying purpose, as I would call it, I think you would push yourself a little harder. The myth is women cry a lot. For everything they cry, and crying is a typical
Woman
female.
thing.
Yeah, it's a woman thing. It's a woman trait. And I'm so sorry to say that crying men are sexy, and I think they should go up there and howl. They love that. It's not really important for you to hold back your tears. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of something which is emotional. And I think it's a vent for many emotions. People who are angry cry. People who are sad cry. People who are happy cry. So crying doesn't mean anything. Crying is just an expression. So it's very important for people to understand their emotions. Women are a big, complex muddle of emotions. And I think this is to your advantage, because you have so many emotions out there from which you can choose. And it's also sometimes to your disadvantage, because you don't know which one to choose. For example, most of the people who are angry, they're actually sad people. And sadness converts to anger. They're not tough people. They're generally fragile people.
Okay.
So it's like the small sized doggies. Have you seen a dachshund?
Yeah.
It barks loudly, ferociously, and consistently. But if you look at a Doberman or you look at a Great Dane, they're generally very silent and they don't care. So it's something very innate in those who are insecure due to whatever the reason. And it's not as a negative trait, but it's a very, very protective kind of mechanism where, you know, you just start howling before anything that you perceive is going to go wrong.
And tell me something, you energized my water.
Yeah.
Where did that water go? So what did you do?
Well, I'm a highly meditative mind.
Okay.
And I believe that that's something which actually not only changes my life, it changes everyone's life.
Okay.
So when you function in something which is called linear alignment, which means that at no point in my life will I think crooked. What I think, what I feel, and what I do is always in a straight line.
Okay. Okay.
And when I think and feel, and I believe it's not appropriate, I will not do. But there's no way that I will think and feel and do, which means that it's completely contrary to what I thought. For example, now you're my boss and I don't like you. There's no need for me to come to you and say you're looking nice, you're looking pretty, you're so sweet, because I don't mean any of that. So it's called incongruent thinking. When I'm a congruent thinker and I'm a meditator, your mind functions in what we call the alpha mode. And the alpha is a very slow brain. And when you have a very slow, clear brain, it's like driving in a thunderstorm with your, wipers on. And you drive slow, right? You can drive fast, but why do you drive slow? Because it gives you more clarity. The same way when the mind functions in alpha, which is actually a very slow state of mind, you get something which is called linear alignment. And when you get linear alignment, you start generating energy, which is really, really useful. And when you touch any object in that state, when you drive yourself to alpha, and you touch any object in that state, you can observe, for example, now you can see the heat. I mean, the entire thing gets heated up. And you're able to liberate energy. There's something called OBE, out-of-body experiences. So we are people who heal through that. Yeah, I heal through that.
Okay.
So energy can leave your body because your body no longer is a boundary for your energy. Because your body can be very limiting. That's the reason people feel stressed, you get headache, you feel all the so-called depression epidemic that people are claiming they have.
Are you saying that it is again not as much as it is existent?
Depression? Yeah, it's more a brand name today. I guess they had a girl who walked up to me and said, you know what, I've got depression. And I said, oh really? She said, yeah, like the one Deepika Padukone had, the same one I too have. And I was like, wow, so you're proud of it? She said, yeah, she had it too. And she had that look on her face. And it's not what people think it is. I fully sympathize with those who are genuinely suffering. It's a disease, it's not sadness. It's the inability to feel happy. And it's something related to chemicals.
What's the difference?
The difference is sadness and happiness is just an emotion. But if I don't have serotonin, I don't have the chemicals that are responsible for the brain firing in certain ways, I have no choice. It's not up to me. My brain is always functioning in a depressed mode. Thereby, most of the emotions that I'm supposed to feel,
You can't.
I can't, even if I want to. Like you're driven by darkness. Instead of exploding outward, you're exploding inward. So it's more an implosion. And it can be a very critical state because at some stage, they want to come out of that state, but they cannot. They only go deeper and deeper.
So how do you come out?
You have to get yourself treatment. It's a medically treatable condition. It's a disease. It's not a condition. Whereas if I say I'm feeling sad, it's a state of mind, very superficial. You can always recover. But in depression, you got to go deep. You got to undergo therapy. You got to substitute things. You got to create those chemicals which are really essential for you. It's called the DOES axis: dopamine, oxytocin, endorphin, serotonin. So it's one of these four chemicals that's playing havoc. And in women, it's all the more because women are gifted. We're chemical factories. We are hormone, wholesale warehouses. It's very easy. Men are gifted. They just have 2 or 3 and they're happy with it.
So that's not a gift. That could also be a Bane.
What men have?
No.
What women have?
Yeah.
Well, it can be a gift if you use it appropriately, because all chemicals have good effects.
Okay.
And if you're not really in the appropriate state of mind, those chemicals can cause some other
Bad
effects.
effects. Okay.
It's like when you eat your food and you're hungry, your digestion happens. When you keep starving yourself, acidity happens. It's the same acid, but the effects are completely different. So we call it the event response outcome. So you can't control.
all these.
That's where the mind comes into play. So I'm somebody who's a right brain giant. So I'm known for my creativity. Speaking comes from the right brain. Kung Fu comes from the right brain. Meditation is extremely one of the main reasons why the right brain functions effectively, because I'm a subconscious kind of functioner. So what happens? I think the right brain is not very efficient in most of the world's population, because we are all very, very left dominant people. So most of this country, which I've observed, having worked with many, many people, is that most of the people I meet, they're all left brain giants, right brain pygmies. Very tiny, in the right brain. They are very good at cut, copy, paste. But if I ask somebody in my creative team to produce something original, they will look up, because it's just not possible. And some of them are very good at cut, copy, they're very poor at pasting. So that's even worse. They will paste it with the original guy's name as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So in the creative side, I think because Indians, we are very few left-handers, our education is too rote. It's high time our education system changes. I've been fighting at that level also, trying to get curriculum to change, because they enable only by-hearting things. People learn geography, history, and what Shah Jahan did without knowing how to pay income tax.
Yeah.
So I would want my children to understand, how do you get a visa done? How do I get my passports done? How do I work in compliance with the law? Tomorrow if someone attacks me, what is an FIR? I think these are the things that people need to learn. And not like whether Aurangzeb killed his dad, or whether Akbar, married 10 times. At the end of the day, why change the name of one road, which is Aurangzeb Road, into, some Shivaji Rao Road or some nonsense. I think all this thinking comes from the left brain, because the left brain is a hare, H-A-R-E. So it's jumping always, it's forever fluttering, it keeps reproducing babies every 2 weeks, and you don't know what to do with them. The meat is also not very tasty, and you just don't know what to do with them, except for the fact that they're nice looking, and they're all fluffy and all over the place. So the same thing, because I think in India, though meditation originated in India, people don't meditate. I'm a very, very self-disciplined person, and I think I would work out maybe 1 hour if I feel like it. When I don't feel like it, I will work out 3 hours. It just means that you need to push yourself harder when you don't feel like it. And that's very tough.
Very.
Yeah, so that's where the discipline comes from. Because without self-discipline, you cannot do a damn.
So is that from your army days?
No, it's in my genes. I'm a one-piece manufacturer. And I think that when I was made, I think the good Lord looked at me and said, what did I do? And he smashed the mold. And the devil is always happy, and he says, oh shit, she's up. So there comes competition, right? So you never know which form you need to adapt and which role you need to get into. I believe in being grounded. So I am 100% me. And every day I evolve into a better version of me. And when I say better, it just means that there are areas always throughout your life that you can keep bettering.
I can go on, and I just believe that we need to have Ushy more at Rossé, and I'm going to request her for just the 14th bit of her day to be at Rossé at some point, to give us more, and to give us more to our members. Those who want to have a session with us and Ushy in the same room, let us know, because I'm going to be there, and I'm sure Amrapali and Divya will be there. And Ushy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I can just
Thank
go
you very
on
much.
and on and on and on, and we just need another edition of this.
Yeah.
But through Rossé Tinted Classes, we're here with Ushy Mohandas, and thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me.
And guys, I just want to tell you that Ushy is going to be our Rossé member. I brought a certificate for her.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you very much. And we look forward
I
to
just just end by saying that every rose has a thorn. Allow me to be the thorn in the rose.
Yeah.
And it needs a check in place.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.